Hi, this is Swan with Swan Amity Studios, and today we have something very important to focus on. Has your child ever brought you one of their toys and said, "Mom, you know what this little guy needs? He needs a stuffinarian." Oh my God, the first time my daughter said that to me, I had my heart melt. A stuffinarian? You know, I'm a quilter. I don't love to do repairs on things, but when your child tells you that one of their favorite stuffies needs a stuffinarian, you help. You definitely help. So we've got this little tear in the neck here on this little animal. Cute little armadillo, obviously from Texas. And we need to make a little repair. Notice that the cording on the stuffed animal has snapped here. Now, I don't have something similar to that, but I do have a really nice 40 weight King Tut from Superior. I really like this particular one for doing little Stuffinarian repairs. So I have chosen a longer milliner's needle. Most of you know I don't use milliners very often, but they're great for stuffed animal repairs. This is a size 10, and straw needle or milliner's needle, excellent choice. And just going to give myself a generous amount of thread there. Remember, that's that 40 weight. It's a solid King Tut. And this one is number 1027. Not that that really matters too much on a stuffed animal repair. I'm going to make an extra thick quilter's knot, so I've wrapped about 6 times on there, and I'm going to use my thimble. Now, I could use a variety of thimbles here, but I like to have one that has a rim on it like that. This is the one I like to use most for applique. It's an inexpensive thimble, but it does the job, and that rim on the top keeps the needle from sliding if I have to push hard. Now, the first thing we're going to do is pull that cord a little tight and just kind of tuck it into the neck so we don't have to worry about that being in our way. And then we never want to start our stuffed animal repair at the point of the break. We want to come a little further back into the stuffed animal. So I usually start about an inch away from where the break was, approximately an inch, doesn't have to be exact, so that we reinforce a section that was already strong. And now the benefit of most stuffed animals is that they're furry, so they hide your stitches a lot. You don't have to be perfect, but you're going to create kind of a little running stitch. So we're going to go into the animal on the top side of the neck and all the way through. You'll see my stitch just disappears into the fur. And then we're going to come down into the base of the neck. And now we're going to notice that we can see where some of the original cording was right there. We're going to kind of follow those stitch lines going back into the same spaces where the animal was originally stitched. Back into the top of the neck, I can see once again where the cording was right there. From that stitch, I'm going to come right out into there. And now here along the break, we don't have any of those indicators. So now we're going to take stitches approximately as long as the original ones. The original ones were pretty thick stitches. They weren't super close together. So I am stitching approximately just less than 1/4 of an inch apart from each stitch. And I'm trying to come back into a similar seam line where I can see where the stitching had happened before. That cording, I'm just going to make sure it gets tucked in when I'm stitching. And again, like I say, you don't have to be super perfect about these. This is not anything that's going to go to a show. Nobody's going to judge you. But you do have to get into the same seam lines as the original stitching. And I'm going to see where there's a little seam along the back here. Whenever I run into that, I try to catch the top of that seam so that I catch both this side and this side of the attachment in the same stitch, so that it just kind of reinforces that connection of that little back seam. And we're going to continue along. You'll find that stitching on stuffed animals, because the fabric is a fairly loose weave, it's really easy to do. It doesn't feel taxing or difficult at all. You might not even need a thimble, depending on how loosely woven the fabric of the animal is. And here we go, we're almost through. Now here's where the break stopped, right here. And let me get that little bit of fuzz out of there. We want to stitch past where the break was, so that we're once again reinforcing the edge of the area where we know that break might still have a little looseness in the original stitching. So we, like I say, we want to go past the point at which the break existed. Once again, by at least an inch. So here's where the break stopped. I'm going to go a little further into the front of the neck. Notice all of our stitches are disappearing, and I give it a tug from time to time to kind of make sure that this is a nice strong line that we've stitched, and I've pulled my stitches tight enough. Now that we're past the point at which we were dealing with the break, we want to tie off. And to do that, I use a similar tie off to what I use when I'm appliquing. So I'm going to take one side of the thread, and I'm going to bring my needle through it so that I've created a little loop of thread. And I'm going to do that a couple of times. So I'm going to wrap my needle through the loop, through the loop, through the loop, about 4 times. And what that's doing is giving me a little knot of thread that's towards the base of my loop. I want to make sure that I get the tail out of there and bring that little knot of thread as close to the neck as I can. I'm going to put my thumb on top of it and pull it tight. You can see there's a tiny knot in there. Not huge, but that's good. And we want to go then into the animal and out through the fur, about a ½ an inch away from where we want to bury that knot, and then pull until you see it or hear it pop beneath the surface of the animal. Now I can tell that that knot is all the way in there. I'm going to take my little scissors and snip that off nice and close so you can't see it. And our little animal has had a very successful visit to the Stuffinarian. I love how that works, and your children will be happy. They don't have to give up that favorite little puppy dog or unicorn. You can restuff if you need to while they're open, and you can close them up perfectly. They are ready to go. I'm going to put all my tools away. Today, some of you will ask me where I am storing all of my little doodads, and I am thrilled to say that I have started working with Yazzie bags. That's Yazzie, Y-A-Z-Z-I-I. So Y-A-Z-Z-I. I'm just going to put away my needles, and I'm going to slide them into this great little organizer. The bag that I'm working with from Yazzie today is, I'm going to take that thread out of there before I get rid of that. I'm going to close that up. This bag is the Yazzie craft box. It comes with all these wonderful little inserts to store all of the goodies that I need. And the craft bag or craft box looks like this. Let's back up from that and check it out. I absolutely adore how many little storage spaces there are in here. I bought one of the extra little add-on packs so that once I put all of my needles and all of my tools, I've got this little front space here where any loose items that I need can be stored in the meantime. And I like to make sure that I have my thimbles put away. Let's pop my last little thimble I was using right in there with all of my favorite thimbles. My robin thimble and my swan thimble all get stored in there. And my little add-on packages mean that if I have appliques I'm working on or my applique thread, those can all be in their own little individual spaces. I also have everything I use to bind a quilt, and I pop that in the front as well. Can you see how much storage space is in here and how easy that is to travel with? So awesome. I absolutely adore it. So if you are looking for the perfect craft travel bag, the perfect little quilting travel bag, I do suggest that you check out Yazzie, Yazzie Craft Box, and look in the description of this video for your very own little product code, and I will tell you how to get your Yazzie bag with just a little bit of a percentage off. Wouldn't that be nice? And in the meantime, don't forget to stitch happy.